Hello and welcome to the Merle and Locke podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, helping to pointless banter, lack of focus, and questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. So, we have an exciting one for today. Well, exciting for us at least.
Yeah.
I
Nerdgasm.
Yeah, right. So World of Warcraft just came out with a brand new, spanking new adventure for us to enjoy called The War Within. We've been checking it out over the past week. We've only completed the first area. I don't know if we want to do like a zone by zone review or if we just want to do like an initial thoughts and then like final thoughts afterwards. We'll see.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, if we get input on it, great. If not, we're just gonna wing it.
If we want to give the people a lowdown of what's happening, do you think you could do that?
Where do we start? Oh, I guess kind of where it all boils back to, right? The trailers point back to the giant blade that Sargeras stabbed into Azeroth.
Wait, what?
Right? Are we...
What blade?
Oh, yeah. What blade? There's a blade? Yeah. No, just a giant sword in the middle of Silithus. You don't know?
No, I don't remember that.
It's
I don't
crazy.
recall.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
back in Legion, big giant dude stabs sword in Azeroth. Azeroth wounded. Ow. And now all of a sudden, everybody's hearing Azeroth's voice. Supposedly, everybody's getting together trying to figure this out, and then. Big bad, maybe we might want to fix her, Xalatath. She's come to kind of... She's been called the Harbinger by some of the other people.
Yeah, she got a hold of the what was it called? The Dark
Heart?
The Dark Heart, some kind of relic that was...
Like a void talisman. By the looks of it.
Taken by that elemental earth element dragon man.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I also forget his name, so that bodes well for this conversation.
Yeah, but that it was given to this chick Xalatath. That's what is her backstory exactly? Like, I know she's, like, some kind of void...
Well, yeah, she's kind of like a void elf. We were introduced to her after BFA, when we had to fight N'Zoth. And she was the voice trapped in the blade that we shoved into N'Zoth's eye. Not we, but Nefarian's son, one of his sons. Rathian. Thank you.
Right. We'll get these names.
We're getting there. We're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So anyway, he shoved this blade into N'Zoth's eye, and Xalatath was let free. And she made a deal with N'Zoth that we don't know exactly what that entails yet.
The story is being kind of spoon-fed slowly. We're starting to get an understanding that Azeroth's waking up, starting to speak to more people. Like, I think it's more so visions than anything. And she stopped talking to Magni directly. Of course, Magni is pretty sour about.
Yeah, but what were your thoughts on Magni's commentary through that?
I think Magni is hilarious. I love him. I love how pissed off he is. He's like, I gave up everything to be the speaker for Azeroth, and now she's not speaking to me no more. And I'm a fucking rock man. Like, what is this bullshit?
Right. I love it. It's just like, oh no, she doesn't want to speak to me, but sure, since you're here, I'll tell you what she says.
But it also ended up working out for him pretty well, especially when we went to, what's the new area called?
Wait, is it Kazakh?
Yeah, it's Kazagar. That's the whole continent.
That's that continent.
Oh yeah, but by the way, spoilers while we get into this.
Oh my goodness!
I apologize so far.
But a good thing that we haven't gone that far into it.
Yeah. we're given like premise here, so we haven't gotten too carried away.
Some of this is the very beginning stuff that you might see in the trailers or whatever. You're fine. But now, if you don't want spoilers, you might want to tune out.
Yeah, so like I said, we only did the first zone, which is like the capital city of Kazalgar, which the city is called Dol-dar-ding-dong. Dol-dar-ding-dong.
But you're talking about the main city where these guys are at? Dornagal.
Dornagal,
Because
that's the one.
I couldn't
Jesus.
help but notice that it is very Celtic in nature. Dornagal is like Donegal, and I was like, I'm kind of into it. Now they're obviously not Scotsmen, but they are.
That was a bit jarring, right?
Was it jarring for you?
I thought it was pretty jarring in the fact that, like, I know they're created by the Titans and whatnot, so obviously they're going to be very closely related to the Titans. The Earthen are the same height and build of dwarves, but they're made out of, stone.
And they're a little larger than a dwarf is.
But the fact that they don't have that traditional Scotsman accent, it was kind of jarring at first for me, and it took a little bit for me to like get on board with it. But it's understandable as to why.
I mean, I'm kind of into it. I wonder if there was supposed to be somewhat of maybe a Celtic pull where they pulled some of these characters and names from. It's starting with the city name, but there are a couple other characters' names, and I wish I should have wrote them all down, but some of them were very Celtic in nature. I go, that's interesting.
Yeah, okay. No, I could see that. So rather than get down to those kind of nitty gritties, let's get into like some of the story that we've seen thus far. So first of all, Dalaran it's attacked by Xal'atath and the Nerubians, which is like, it's kind of a go-to from the get-go, just absolute turmoil. The council has decided, Magni's brought with a vision of fire, death, suffering in this Khazalgar, and the Kirin-Tor Council decides we're going to go there and we're going to help them out. So we teleport, they get together and they teleport the Dalaran to Khazalgar, and turns out one of the council members was Xal'atath in disguise, and she had convinced, everybody to go there. And as soon as we get there, attacked by the Nerubians, which are bug folk. Bugs again. The Nerubians keep coming back.
Yep.
I mean, they're a fun enemy. I enjoy them.
The interesting thing to me is, like, I watched an interview with Metzen, who kind of talked about a lot of this and why we're re-seeing a bunch of things. Is since their 20th year anniversary will be coming up in November. That's why we're re-seeing the returns of kobolds and Nerubians and dwarfs, giant dwarfs.
I do like the return of the kobolds. I do enjoy kobolds ever since the bygone days of Elwyn and them talking about their candles and whatnot.
No take candle.
And like just bringing that back, I really have enjoyed that. Now, as far as like your overall feeling thus far going into this expansion, I myself feel kind of nostalgic. I can't quite pinpoint what it is exactly, but it's giving me this nostalgic feel, which is welcoming and warming. And it feels like everything is right in the world going through this expansion thus far. I found nothing to fuss about. I'm just completely enjoying myself. It more so solidifies that fact with just the fact that this week I've been playing through some of the new expansion to kind of catch up to you because you got an earlier start than I did.
Well, they gave you the time too, but we had like 3 days early access to try out the expansion, and boy howdy was I enjoying it.
Yeah, so you got to like the second zone and I was playing catch up. And by the time I got to the second zone, I was like, okay, I want to keep playing, but I don't want to continue the story, so I'm gonna kind of back off, maybe like do some cleanup work in the prior expansion with Dragonflight. So I went back and I started doing some stuff. And it was like I was telling you earlier, while I was doing that and doing some cleanup work and like getting a couple of achievements that I was trying to finish up, I was getting so frustrated and I was like getting angry at things. Like I was telling you, I was like, rather than have a brain aneurysm, I decided to start playing a different video game with another friend last night. So I was like, I can't. Yeah, so I was having such a good time playing through the new expansion, and then going back to a prior expansion, I was like, fuck this, I hate this game.
Oh, man. Do tell everybody about your feelings on Dalaran and Khadgar. Because we were talking about the Nerubians attack.
Yeah, so big spoiler coming up here. So as soon as you're attacked in Dalaran, everything starts going awry, and you're just trying to help people get out of Dalaran, right? So you're like saving a bunch of folk, helping people out. You're trying to, call some of the monsters and what have you. Eventually, everyone escapes. You catch up with Illyria and Khadgar. Well, you catch up with Khadgar. Khadgar faces off against Xalatath. Things don't go so well. Illyria comes in, tries to save the day. Things don't go so well. And then Khadgar is like, when they're both down on the ground and Xalatath's about to finish them off, Khadgar's like, throws a portal down and teleports Illyria away, trying to save her. So he gets, I can't really say for sure, but he's kind of voided away by Xalatath. I wouldn't say killed. It's
there's speculation. Maybe he's still alive. Maybe Dalaran wasn't really destroyed. But, I mean, Dalaran looks like it was destroyed.
Dalaran definitely blew up. Because there's bits of it all over the place.
Well, here's the other kickers. A bunch of the rares and stuff that spawn all around the map near Khazalgar. A lot of them are from the Arcane Vault, the one that housed a lot of bad people.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
So that's where a lot of those rares are from, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I like that.
That is pretty cool. I didn't even put that one together. Ooh, didn't even realize that.
There you go.
Anyway. Oh, something I was going into earlier with Magni, yeah? So, with the whole, like, losing his, his glow. He's less glassy, more rock now.
Don't we all feel that way?
Yeah.
That's age, Magni. Age does it to you.
What happens is, but once Dalaran crashes, you're still trying to save people and take out some of the beasties. You're met by the locals, Khazalgar, which are all earthen. It's big earthen kingdom. They intercept and they, destroy some of the Nerubians, and then they confront you, and they're like, "You're not welcome here." Blah blah blah. But then Magni steps in. And they're like, "Oh my God, it's like a Thragar or something like that."
Yep.
I forget the word that they called him.
Thragar, yeah.
Which are
nail on the head. Good job.
which are essentially beings created by the Titans. I think the Thragar created the Earthen. It's kind of like a step down thing where it's like, oh, we need servants, so we'll create these. And then those servants are like, oh, we need servants, so we'll create these. It's like a step down thing, all the way down. And so they mistook Magni for one of these Thragar. Magni, of course, is just like, yes, I am.
Well, what do you say?
Of course.
What do you say? You say no, and then you get thrown out.
Yeah. So he's like, yes, I am, and they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll be more lenient on you because obviously you're gonna help us with all this, and Dragar are super powerful, and you can be our leader. And so we'll see what comes of that. I'm kind of excited to see Magni step into that position and see if he does. or if the Earthen are finally like, okay, maybe you're not what
Right.
we thought you were. So we'll see where that goes. I'm excited to see. There's also these different factions within the Earthen community. There's turmoil going all throughout their, civilization, which you quickly realize that, everything's going wrong with these Nerubians trying to take over and Xal'atath trying to, achieve whatever she's trying to achieve, which is like probably throw Azeroth into the void or whatever it may be. Because I guess homeboy Illyria's boss, quote unquote, whatever his name was, he was like, yes, this has happened before. That's what happened to my world.
Say, we didn't even know it was happening. We heard the earth cry out, but we didn't think anything of it. And then
yeah,
that was it.
Don't make our mistake.
And now here we are, floating toilet paper.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot to digest going into this new expansion. I thought it was going to be more overwhelming at first, but it's tying so much together and making so much sense that I'm like, this is kind of awesome. I really love this. I wish I could, sound at least a bit more educated on it and like remember names and being able to describe things in more detail.
You remembered Thwagar, so I'm going to have to give you a little bit more credit.
but like so far it's been absolutely amazing, and I love this expansion thus far, and I can't wait to see what else comes of it. I do want to do more episodes talking about, like, as we discover more things, I'm gonna have to like make notes and what have you throughout to kind of get a handle and remember some names and what have you. Now, if we are to talk specifically about the starting zone, what are your thoughts on that thus far?
I loved every moment of it, and I saw some things that were introduced in past expansions that I love how they expanded upon it and kind of made it better. I remember when they introduced the follower dungeons, and that was just in this past expansion that they introduced follower dungeons. Now they have created, using that concept for follower dungeons, they created the story dungeons, which I didn't know if you really took notice to that when you did that ending finale in Khazalgar when they're like, go off to that dungeon.
Yes, okay. So I was in Discord with one of our buddies, and I was just chatting while I was playing. I told him what was going on, and I was like, I was raving about it. I was like, this is amazing. I like this whole follower dungeon thing. I was like, this is awesome. I love that I'm able to do this, because like I don't have to like wait in a queue and wait for a whole bunch of other people to show up. I just, get all these AI characters to follow me in, and they're quite capable. Like, I had some reservations at first, thinking like, oh, I wonder if they're going to be a bunch of numpties. But no, they're actually quite capable. You play the role you want to play, and they'll fill the rest. And you go in, and something shocking, like I was just clearing out everything easy days. Something that I really liked is when we went in there and I wasn't entirely certain like where to go. They'll put pings and they'll say things like, oh, looks like we have to jump down this hole. I hope there's water down there or something like that. I hope it's a soft landing. And I'm like, that's amazing. I was like, this is awesome.
Right.
I really enjoyed that. I also really enjoyed the delves.
I love the commentary from Bronn the whole time.
Okay, yeah, Brand's absolutely amazing. I love him. Having him as just like an adventuring partner, and the fact that you can level him up and give him certain abilities, and you can have him play a certain role in the dungeons, whether it be healing or DPS, like that's awesome. I love him. Yeah, I haven't found anything that I don't love yet. When these expansions are first coming out, we get all excited and we have such high expectations, but sometimes we're let down because our expectations are way too high. But going into this, like, it's exceeding all of my expectations. and I can't get enough. I mean, I want us to finish up these podcast
so we can play,
and so we can start playing some. The more I talk about it, I'm like, I want to play more.
You sound like you're about ready to be like, all right, that's it, we're done. Time to go off the WoW. The whole introduction to story dungeons, apparently there's also a story raid, but we'll get to that. You don't get the rewards that you would get from actually playing with people. However, it does give you an introduction to basically what the fight will entail. So if you wanted to go back in and fight with other people, like in the LFR, then you know what to do. You know what to expect.
I love the fact that it gives you a means to practice certain roles. That'll allow you to practice being a healer, practice being a tank. So you don't have to fall into that, that awkward phase where you're just jumping in to all these dungeons and raids with, actual players and then being met with harassment.
Skip the cutscene already.
Because you don't know what you're doing and they're just giving you crap. Yeah, and the cutscenes. I hate being rushed through cutscenes.
I want to watch it.
Them.
Yeah, I want to see the content. And people are yelling at you, telling you, just look it up on YouTube. No! This is about my character experience. This is what my character gets to see.
Exactly, and it doesn't feel rushed, and I appreciate that so much. And I think this opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Like, especially like if they're to expand on these followers. I've seen before someone suggest having like the same followers again and again, or if you were to be able to have your warband play those roles within the dungeon, so you can have control over like what equipment they have, what abilities they utilize in order to help you. I know that would take a lot of work to be able to, do all that, but it would be really neat.
Then you could really have a story with all your characters and how they kind of intertwine this really fits the alt part. Anybody who doesn't have alts, this probably wouldn't pertain to them. But for those of us that run an alt army, ideal.
Absolutely. There is the whole, it's a convenience, but also it gives you less reason for you to have alts. Like by doing like all these raids and dungeons and whatnot, you get these armor sets. With these armor sets, some of the armor that you're not able to utilize, like if say you have mail armor, chainmail armor, so you can't use cloth or plate armor. So you can't unlock those appearances for those sets because you can't equip that piece of equipment. So you have to use an alternative character that can use that kind of equipment to go through that raid or dungeon or whatever to be able to get those appearances for those particular sets. Now you can unlock those appearances with any character no matter what kind of armor or weapons they use. You can unlock all those appearances with that same character, which is so convenient. And I do really appreciate that. Because it saves a lot of time.
Tell me about it. I've already gone back to old dungeons and raids and started collecting old armor sets.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good on you. There you go. Now I can only imagine that we're going to play through this expansion and what have you, and then we're going to start going back to old raids again and trying to finish up all these armor sets with one character rather than trying to do it with numerous characters.
You bet your bippy we are, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the Merlinlock podcast. If you enjoyed this banter, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/merlandlock or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.